How y'all doing out there, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy God Vision, aka Vipe. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, man, I gotta give man up above, man. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for waking me up this morning, man. Real talk, you know what I'm saying? Can't do nothing without him. Me. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak for anybody else. But look, shout out to my super chat, man, cause we gotta get in this, man. How y'all doing out there? Appreciate the donation. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. God bless y'all. God bless. Look, man, we gotta start giving our legends their flowers while they here, man. You know what I'm saying? Eric Monet, man, this the man, the creator of Good Time, George Jefferson, the Jeffersons, and all of the ones we grew up on. You know what I'm saying? He came up with that. He wrote it. The Jews in Hollywood stole his stuff, wrote them all, blackballed them, and stole his ideas. And he the writer of all that. Red Fox, as one of my top 5 comedians. You know what I'm saying? Wrote all that. Sanford son wrote everything. White man stole it, you know what I'm saying, the Jews, and they gonna break it down. They're gonna break it down how he did it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let y'all see this documentary right quick with him, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to him, man. I salute him, man. You know what I'm saying? We gotta start being up, like I said, man, our legends, man, who really did stuff for the community, you know what I'm saying? Cause we grew up off these shows. You know what I'm saying? But take a look at this, man. I'm gonna be back with my thoughts, cause I think it's fucked up how they did it. You know what I'm saying? Stole the man thing, blackballed him. People out there.
Norman Lear is a racist, a hypocrite, a thief, and a liar.
This is a man named Eric Monte. He was one of the creators and writers of the Norman Lear show Good Times back in the 70s. He says Norman Lear never properly paid him for his work in creating the show, and that Lear has wrongfully claimed credit for creating a number of shows that were based on characters or ideas that Eric came up with.
I said, if you want somebody funny to own the junkyard, you need to hire Red Fox. And Norman Lear said, Red who? And Norman Lear said, no. This is a white show. 2 months later, he was doing Sanford and Son with Red Fox.
I've always thought it was a little odd that Norman Lear, this Jewish guy from New Haven, Connecticut, could single-handedly create every single groundbreaking television show featuring working-class black families in the 70s. But when I first heard that there was a black man who was accusing Norman Lear of poaching his ideas and not giving him the proper credit, I have to admit, I was a little skeptical.
I had to fight and argue with Norman Lear for 3 years to show a complete black family on television.
Eric Monte, who suffered with drug addiction, homelessness, and eventually lost everything he had, says Norman Lear stole his ideas for shows like Good Times, The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, and claimed them as his own, cheating Monte out of creator credits and millions of dollars. But is there any veracity to this claim? I'm Dara Star Tucker, and this is The Breakdown. I grew up with this Norman Lear mythology. The spiel was that he just somehow had a sense for what America was ready for and had enough knowledge of the black experience to create these shows that reflected our culture and that knocked down racial barriers. He has 5 Emmys, the National Medal of Arts, and the Kennedy Center Honor. Surely there couldn't be any truth to the rumor that he was a thief. Eric Monte, who was born Kenneth Williams, grew up in Chicago's inner city, in the Cabrini Green housing projects to be exact, the very projects where the groundbreaking show Good Times was set. In his estimation, it was a great childhood filled with rich experiences that he wanted to share with the world.
I started looking for some black heroes, and I saw Mantan, Steffi Fetchers, and Amos and Andy, and I thought they were real funny, but I didn't want to be them. In fact, I was ashamed of them. So I made a vow. I grew up, I was going to make some black heroes.
He wanted people to know that his upbringing was about more than just gun violence, drugs, and poverty. So, as soon as he was of age in the late 1960s, he decided to hitchhike to Hollywood. He did whatever he had to do to survive. He gambled, he hustled, he even sold drugs at one point. It took him 2 years to get there. Eventually, he hooked up with a group of hippies and enrolled in LA City College on the GI Bill and studied poetry, which eventually turned him on to screenwriting. He created a bit of buzz in the black artistic community when word spread about one of the plays that he had produced while he was at LA City College. In 1971, Mike Evans, who played Lionel Jefferson in All in the Family, asked Eric Monte if he would be willing to write a spec script for the show that would help him to flesh out his character a bit more.
He said, and I understand you're a good writer. I'd like you to write a show that centers on my character. And I'll put both our names on it, take it into Norman Lear, and we'll split the money. So I said, okay. So I wrote this show in which I created his mother and father, George and Louise Jefferson. And he took it in to Norman Lear, and 2 weeks later Norman sent for me. And that's how it all started.
So, with the script, Eric Monte created the characters George and Louise Jefferson. He pitched the idea of a spin-off show with these characters to Norman Lear for years, but Lear didn't think it would work.
I pitched the show in 1971. And his first thing Norman Lear said when I came into the office was, America will never buy a black man calling white people hunky in a sitcom.
In 1975, Lear finally decided to give the Jeffersons their own show, using many of Monte's suggestions, but he never invited him to be a writer on the show, and he didn't list him in the credits as a creator or offer any residuals for Monte having developed those characters. Eric also says that Norman Lear talked to him about the desire to remake a British TV show, Steptoe and Son, in the early 70s. Eric suggested to Norman that he do it with an all-black cast and use Red Fox as the lead. At the time, Norman Lear didn't even know who Red Fox was, and he had planned to use an all-white cast. But a few months later, the show was green-lighted, and what do you know? He took Eric's suggestion, again with no acknowledgement of his contribution. At the same time, around 1971, Monte was pitching a show to Norman Lear based on his own childhood in the Cabrini Green housing projects in Chicago. Esther Roll was receiving a lot of good buzz at the time for playing Maud's maid, Florida, and the network decided to give her her own spin-off show. When they came to Norman Lear for ideas, he pitched them Eric's idea for a show set in Cabrini Green. But there was one change that Esther insisted upon.
She wanted a husband on the show. They wanted to do it without a husband. And she said, no, I want a husband on the show because I was raised with a father and a mother, and I wanted America to see that black men stay with their families and raise their children.
Right.
Now, Norman did hire Eric Monte to write for Good Times. Eric describes his time as a writer on the show as being very contentious because he and several members of the cast were in constant battles with white writers and with Norman Lear about the tone and the stereotypes that were depicted in the show.
I caught hell because Norman Lear was an incredible racist, but he didn't think so. And everything they wrote was stereotypic. They thought of black humor as, yowza boss, I was going to go down by the river. I'd fight them tooth and nail. They'd ignore me in the offices, take that yowza stuff down to the cast. John Amos, Esther Roll, and Johnny Dubois would have a fit. I would give them what I had written. Norman Lear would reluctantly shoot it, put it on the air, and it became a big hit.
He says after the first season he was demoted as a chastisement for his constant battles with Norman Lear, and the white writers were promoted in his place.
They eventually fired John Amos by killing off his character for the same reason. After the second season of Good Times, Eric Monte got a deal to write the Cooley High movie, and he left Norman Lear's production company altogether. Eric's movie Cooley High was a breakout hit in 1975, and that prompted ABC head Michael Eisner to call him in to discuss creating a show based on his movie. That show eventually became What's Happening. Eric wrote a pilot for the script, and ABC accepted it. Because he had been burned so badly by Norman Lear, Eric fought for more control this time and wanted to put the show out through his own production company. ABC execs said that because he didn't have any producing experience, they would have to hire a couple of line producers to work with him. Eric Monte's agent, Bernie Weintraub, also repped writer-producers Saul Turtletaub and Bernie Ornstein. When he finally saw the production deal, it was listed under something called Toy Productions.
And I was like, who the hell is Toy Productions? Turtletaub and Ornstein had gone out and formed a company with Bud York and Norman Lear's partner. ABC had signed to do the show with that company, and my agent, Bernie Weintraub, had negotiated the deal, all behind my back.
So Monte went to the Writers Guild to try and get them to mediate the situation. They offered him the bare minimum, which was a huge insult. So he took the only step that he felt was left. He filed suit against all of them: ABC, CBS, Turtletaub, Ornstein, Yorkin, Weintraub, and Norman Lear.
Norman Lear came to me, and he offered me $1 million for a settlement. And I said, for all those shows, no way. So the lawyers came to me and they said, look, take that money because you still have your suit against the networks and the others, but at least we'll get paid. So when the papers came down, all the defendants were listed. So I said, I didn't agree to this. They said, either you take this or we're walking off the cake. I went all over Los Angeles looking for lawyers to represent me. I had the evidence and everything, okay? No lawyer in that town would take my case.
This was 3 days before the statute of limitations ran out on the oldest accusations in the suit, so he was forced to take the settlement. After that, he was effectively blackballed in the industry and couldn't get much work. He fell on hard times in the late 90s and developed an addiction to crack cocaine. He eventually ended up at the Salvation Army, where he continued to write scripts that he hoped to have produced. He kicked his drug habit in the early 2000s and is still living. If you think about it, here was this young black kid from the streets, talented but unsophisticated, didn't know how the business worked and just wanted a place at the table. Through sheer talent and grit, he miraculously gets one, but is shortchanged over and over by industry power players. Are there misrepresentations or exaggerations in his story? We'll probably never know, since Norman Lear, who's 99 years old, has refused to respond to any questions about it. Unfortunately, it's not hard to imagine this story playing out exactly as he says it did. What can't be questioned is the indelible legacy that Eric Monte has left on the culture with the characters and stories that he brought us, regardless of whether he will ever receive his proper recognition or not.
Creator of good times. Eric Monte.
Be sure to follow the I'm All Over the Place podcast. We'll be doing a deep dive on this topic in the next episode.
Yeah, we back with it, man, you know what I'm saying? But we need to give these people their flowers while they're here, you know what I'm saying? Because we grew up off of them episodes, you know what I'm saying? Them classics, real classics, you know what I'm saying? Wasn't for this man, we wouldn't even, you know what I'm saying, see nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? He responsible for all that. But look, man, you know what I'm saying? This the goes to show you can't give people your idea, because you can have a long-time friend jealous of you. When you come up with a smart idea, you take that and run that, copyright that, and then you be looking like, well, damn, man, I didn't backstab. Now that's a snake for real, you hear me? That's really a snake. But be careful who y'all tell y'all ideas for, man. It might get took, you know what I'm saying? You know, stay prayed up out there, man. Get away from fake and phony people, man. Vultures, you know what I'm saying? You already know, man. Niggas know who they not supposed to be messing with. Bitches know who they not supposed to be messing with. You already know, you know what I'm saying? My motto, man. You know what I'm saying? Be blessed by the best. I'm your boy, God Vision, a.k.a. Bite, and I'm signing off. You heard me? Why? Shout to the blood.
I've been going through a lot of things lately, and I'm just trying to find my way up out the dark. You feel me? And I'll be damned if I'ma let a hard time change me. I'm trying to find my way up out the dark. I know you gotta feel me, feel me, feel me, feel me, feel me.
Purchase your tracks today.
Rest in peace, my cousin Juga. Man, used to go by his house and play the Sega and the Super,